Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel English Literature. Today we are going to talk about a bloody chapter in American colonial history, and that is the Pequot War. Now, settlement in new land started long before, and if we talk about permanent settlement, then in 1607 there was John Smith, Jamestown, Virginia. In 1620, William Bradford Plymouth Company, not Ply Company, Plymouth Colony, and 1630, John Winthrop, Massachusetts Bay Colony. So in this way, gradual settlement was going on. But not only the settlers, there are other powers also, the native powers, the Aboriginal people. And it was not always smooth going or easy to go hand in hand with the natives. Apart from English, there was also France, Portugal and Dutch power also. But the conflict and clash was most vicious with the English people, because English power was staunch Puritan, and they think that it is their duty to hate the Aboriginals and try to convert them into Christianity. They are not tolerant, they are not reasonable. So you can find that here in this map that it is Massachusetts and there is Connecticut and here is Pequot. We are going to talk about this Pequot. There are also other tribes like Mohegan, and there was Narragansett. You can search here in this, yeah, there it is, Narragansett. So these local tribes were also there apart from the Pequot. But what did the Pequot want? The Pequot want the monopoly of power. They want to be the omniscient power in the native history, and that was the primary cause of this war. And then of course were the other cause, and of course was the atrocity of the English power over the native land. You cannot deny it. Okay, let's have a look at the history now. Now, colonial settlement did not indicate smooth history in every respect. Native American tribes often got entangled with the small skirmishes or long drawn warfare. Okay, so everything was not easy going. And when did this war happen? The Pequot War involves a complex web of power struggles. Dutch, English, Pequot. Okay, you will understand that when we read about that. That it was actually a power struggle, story of power struggle over the three power. One at the one side there is Dutch, at the other side there is English, and in the middle there is Pequot. And there was also the other native tribes. They were also involved in this power web. Okay, and this war was fought in 1636, 1637. Who? So who the Pequots were? The Pequots were a Native American tribe. The Pequot territory was in southeastern Connecticut. You can find here. I just mark it, Connecticut. So southeastern, you can find this is south part. If you can take, and this is eastern part. I can take it as south. So this is south part, this is eastern part. So southeastern part, the Pequot. And they lived almost 800 Pequot. There lived almost 800 Pequot people in the early 17th century. But the smallpox epidemics of 1633 and 34 wiped most of the people away. So smallpox epidemic. We have talked about this factor that when the settlers came, they also brought with them the different type of diseases. With those diseases, the native people were not inoculated, not habituated, so they died, most of them. But what the English people used to think, they used to think that this smallpox epidemic that we have brought here is God's punishment. God through us we are the most important people, the God's children. We are bringing this epidemics to this land, and people cannot get they cannot get adjusted with these epidemics, and they are dying. It is God's punishment because they are hidden people. They are not Christian. So this is the God's punishment. The God is punishing them through the smallpox epidemics and inoculation. We'll talk about this that they are not in favor of inoculation also, but there are some good people who are in favor of inoculation and how they can the native can fight the smallpox epidemics. We'll talk about that later. But that was the belief of the English settlers. They vilified the native people, that they are not the chosen people of God, and it is their burden to convert them and bring them into the light. So in that, taking that great generous burden, they started killing them. They started just eliminating these tribes in most of the cases. Now, why? The Pequot War was spurred following the arrival of the Dutch in 1611 and the English in the early 1603. The Dutch and Pequot controlled all trade in that region. Now just concentrate in the story and the backdrop of the war. The Dutch and Pequot, these two power, Dutch power and the Pequot power, they used to control the trade of the Connecticut Bay and surrounding locality. And now Pequot started expanding their power at the beginning of the 17th century. Now Pequot were a very ferocious native tribe, and they wanted to conquer and all the power within themselves, and don't they want that other native tribes can raise their head. And they also dislike the other native tribes' relationship with these settlers like Dutch. They wanted that Dutch will do trade only with themselves, the Pequot and Dutch, no other name will be there, no Mohicans or not any other name. And this was a problem with the Pequots, obviously. Now English, and that's for that reason the native tribes became resentful of the Pequot control of trade, and this attitude of the other tribes towards the Pequot caused the downfall of the Pequot, because when they need the help, they did not get the help of the other tribes, but the other tribes who are again aboriginal people like the Pequots, they did not help the Pequots, but they helped the settlers, the English power, to cruelly crush the Pequots. So when one brother did not help the other brother, then the other brother joined the enemy of that brother and helped this brother to get crushed. That is the story of Pequot War. Now, English encroachment on Pequot's land worsens the amiable relationship between Pequot and colonists. Now, English were already there in Massachusetts Bay Colony, they are in Virginia and Plymouth Colony, but they were started coming, encroaching the land, and they started coming in the Connecticut Bay, and they also wanted to encroach in the Pequot's land, and that they cannot acknowledge that. So the relationship between Pequot and English started get worsening. Now one power struggle, Pequot versus English, that I got, and another power struggle is already there, Pequot versus other natives. Okay, and there will start another power struggle, that will be Pequots versus Dutch. When the Pequots started to segregate, started to just alienate the Dutch power with the other natives, the Dutch became ferocious. They could not just agree with it, that why should not we can do trade with other tribes except Pequot. So what happened? Now what was the trade? Actually, have a look at what is the trade. Fur and wampum trade. What is wampum? Wampum is a type of bead by polishing sails and then string in strands used by native Indians of America, and they have huge demand in outside America, in those countries like England, and for making jewelry and other showpieces and fancy things. So English efforted to conquer and control the fur and wampum trade at Connecticut Bay, which was controlled by Dutch and Pequot. So again another power struggle, English versus Dutch and Pequot. So you can find there is several thread of power struggle in this web of power. Now I say that in the last point that Pequot versus Dutch. So we will now give light in this point. The tribes wrestled among themselves. So tribes versus tribes, Pequots versus other tribes. Now the Dutch West India Company had grown annoyed. Why? They grown annoyed with the Pequot efforts to monopolize the fur trade and their consistent power showing over the other natives like Narragansett, Nipok, Matabesic, and there was Mohicans. They even did not allow the Dutch to trade and negotiate with other tribes. This tendency to monopoly saw the Dutch Pequot relationship. So this was the reason of Dutch versus Pequot power struggle. Now to stop the Pequot aggression, the Dutch trader Jacob Elkins seized Tabothem, who was Tatobem. These names are like tongue twisting. Tatobem. So now Tatobem was their leader. Now the Dutch captured Tatobem, the Pequot leader, and threatened to kill them, and they demand a hefty ransom for them. And Pequots were agreed with it, and Pequot paid a huge ransom of 140 fathoms of wampum for Tabothem's release. The Dutch accepted the ransom but executed Tatobem. And what the Pequot gained? In exchange of their wampum, they get his dead body. So Tatobem's son, Sasa, something I don't remember the name, he vowed revenge along with the other Pequots. Anyway, the Dutch and Pequot came into negotiation in terms of trade, but the enmity that caused through the death of Tatobem was not actually strangulated. Was not actually that was just suppressed, not removed. That was there. The inherent enmity and the desire to take revenge was there. But temporarily, on the terms of trade, they negotiated with each other. Now, what happened? One incident blazed the wick of war instantly. Okay. Trader Johnstone. Trader Johnstone was English. He and his crew was coming, but they were attacked by the Pequots. Why? There was reason. Because Pequot took it as a Dutch vessel, Dutch ship, and they attacked the ship and killed Johnstone along with the crew. It was a mistake, and a fatal mistake, obviously. 1634, 8th August, this incident happened. English power was already antagonistic towards the Pequot for their monopoly and for their trade, for their prosperity, and they want to encroach Pequot territories. And in this context, Pequots mistakenly killed their crew. Now what happened? Again, one incident kindled the fire burning. That is the murder of John Oldham. Murder of John Oldham. Now there is some controversy regarding this murder. It may happen that other natives who were against the monopoly of Pequots, who became bitter with the power mongery of the Pequots, killed John Oldham and put the blame on the Pequots. It may be the trap to make the Pequot and English were invincible, to make the word must be done. No one can deny it. It may be happened that John Oldham was not killed by the Pequots. Maybe John Oldham was killed by other tribes, and they put the blame. So the Pequots cannot escape the war with the English people. Okay, because Pequots already went to the English people and they acknowledged their mistake, that they had killed John Stone mistakenly. They want to avenge the death of their leader, and they took it as a Dutch vessel that was actually English. But English people was not in the sense of realizing that. They are already in their head, it was going on, we have to diminish the power of Pequots to encroach their land, to get the dominance. So when we feel that I want that, nothing can hinder us, nothing can prevent us from gaining that. Actually, their objective was not to hear the Pequots, what the Pequots are saying. Their objective was, their aim was to diminish the Pequot power and gain that power. So when the Pequots are telling that we did not kill Oldham, they were not in the mood of listening. Even the dead body of John Oldham was found naked. That was against the religious faith of the Puritan people, Puritan settlers. Now, it led to the Pequot War. English troop was arranged on the governor of Massachusetts, and they sent 3 armed vessels and wiped out 2 Pequot villages and burned the villages to the ground and with the people. In revenge, Pequot, along with other tribes, they joined the revenge, but not all the tribes joined. Most powerful tribes did not join with the Pequots. They remained neutral, and later they will join with the English power. The Pequot killed English people and abducted 2. Finally, a combined military force from Massachusetts and Connecticut and some tribes betrayed and attacked the Pequot. The group, the collaborative, connective power, they started in the mission. They started the mission of killing or diminishing or devastating or eliminating the Pequots. That was the mission. Pequots did not get the help of their brothers also. Now 1637, English force held by some local tribes attacked Pequot fort and slaughtered a whole tribal community. It was known as Mystic Massacre because it was happened in the near of Mystic River. Mystic Massacre, the bloody chapter of American colonial history. 500 Pequot men, women, children were killed brutally. William Bradford, in his Plymouth plantation, wrote about this war. John Underhill, in News from America, described the cruelty and vulgarity of the Pequot War. And the people who were taken, they were imprisoned and they were brutally tortured and then killed. And some were just, mostly the women were sold as slaves. Philip Vincent, another English minister, wrote of the cruelties of Englishmen in his A True Relation of Late Battle fought in New England between the English and the savages. Barbaric tortures went on to the Pequot prisoners, killing most of them. With the end of war, the Pequot tribe was declared extinct, and surviving Pequots were sold as slaves or killed after torture. Very few can escape. They joined other tribes, but most of the tribes were not eager to accept them. Accept them because they had the fear of the English people. So they refused to take them in their tribes. So elimination of Pequot community is complete. A bloody chapter of American history came to an end with the Treaty of, I forget the name, Hartford. Treaty of Hartford. With Treaty of Hartford, the official end of Pequot War. It was in 1638. Now what happened after that? What happened after Pequot War? the English gained the territories of the Pequots. English encroached and the Pequot territories were overpowered by them. And next what happened? The other tribes, the Mohegans and others, they gained their superiority, they gained their power, and they started trading with the Dutch and the English. And that the power mongery or the power struggle or the power system that was going on with the Pequots came to in other terms, other relations. And obviously English power increased to a higher degree. And what was the dream? That they will encroach the Pequot land and they will just take in the trade market of the Pequot. That came true. Okay. So with the Pequot today we finish our chapter, a bloody chapter. Thank you.